with the show. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here at the Pop Culture Cosmos and, of course, Game Source and all that good stuff. Do you love listening to me talk, man? You love the echo. I must like appear in your brain like sometimes during the day, like, and the Pop Culture Cosmos. Man, love the echo.
I don't know what's going on here, but
Yes.
the studio is going off.
Something's going off, but it is the Lakers Fast Break. We thank you so much for watching and listening. It is Gerald Glassford, along with my good friend Ox 1947. We're hoping Yami Swoot, aka Jamie Sweet, is coming back in the house here real soon as well. Truly appreciate everybody watching and listening. It is the Rui Hachimura trade. You heard earlier the Magic Man, Sean Grice, elaborate on his thoughts on it. You heard some of mine as well. I do want to go a little bit more in depth with it as far as the Rui Hachimura trade. Rui Hachimura coming to the Lakers for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round draft picks. 1 in 2023, which is the Bulls one that we own as far as that's concerned for 2023. Also, as well, just want to mention as well that it's 2028 with the less favorable second-round draft pick between the Washington Wizards and the Los Angeles Lakers, and 2029, it's the Lakers second as well thrown in. So that's essentially three second-rounders in Kendrick Nunn for Rui Hachimura. But how does he fit with the Los Angeles Lakers and what they're doing and their drive to get into the playoff mix? Got two great guests again, my co-hosts in crime. They're right here, right now. It is the first man up, first man here. You got to go ahead and hear what he's talking about at, of course, he's LakersBall.com. LakersBall.com, he's been chatting away like a storm as Ox 1947 on this trade. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here, my friend. And I wanted to ask you first, okay, when you first heard the news, I saw you actually emailing and interacting with us also as well, interacting on LakersBall.com. Your thoughts, though, because in our chat, a lot of people out there, including Daniel, Zangerstein, Terrence Harvey, hope everyone's all's well. Thanks so much for tuning into the second part of this Rui Hachimura podcast. But your thoughts, man, a lot of people have been asking your thoughts on the Rui Hachimura trade.
It's to be determined. So I'm hearing a lot of Trevor Ariza type comparisons. That, for those of you who don't remember, Trevor Ariza was drafted by the Orlando Magic and didn't, I guess I'll put it lightly, didn't pan out in Orlando. Comes to LA, he did get hurt towards the end of the year, and I always say that if he had been healthy and Andrew Bynum had been healthy at the end, and that's, you can say that for a lot of years. If they had been healthy, I believe the Lakers would have probably had a better chance at winning the 08 title. But when he came back the following year, was essentially the number 3 guy when it mattered. So that's how that played out. It's one of those trades that Mitch Kupchak doesn't get enough credit for. I think Pau Gasol was obviously always going to be his number 1. But that Trevor Ariza trade. Yeah, that Trevor Ariza trade was crucial for the 09 season. I don't know if this is going to be it, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out pretty quick. We do have LeBron James, and LeBron James has a habit of making people around him better, and he's been doing that a lot lately. Not so much the first couple months for several reasons, but during this kind of shift in productivity, especially on the offensive end, we're starting to see a little bit more of LeBron 2020 with the scoring. So imagine that you got a guy that's if you factor in the playoff appearances in games he's played, you're talking about a guy who's played for 24 years in the NBA and still rocking it. I'm hoping there's another situation here where we bring in someone who's kind of unknown that can be productive for this team. I don't know much about him, so I can't really go into too much detail. All I know is that Washington had to move him. They were having issues with extending him. He wasn't taking an extension apparently, or there was some rift there. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they want to sign Kyle Kuzma. So I'm not excited, but I am excited that there's some movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know if I'm still back and forth on whether 3 second-round picks was too much. I don't really have any feeling on that at the moment.
Also here today to talk about the game, about the trade, is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing as part of Lakerholics.com, as part of his 5 Things articles. It is Yami Sweet, aka Jamie Sweet. I'm actually on the fence, like Joe is, because I'm like unsure about this. I don't say it's bad. I don't say it's good. The 3 second-round picks, you can make them up as far as you can buy your way into the second round.
Man.
It's like we did this year with Max Christie, so I'm not too concerned about that. But will he be a consistent role player? First up, with you, Jamie Sweet, Sean Grice says his regards and says, "How does crow taste?" Because Pelinka actually did and pulled off a trade in season,
know.
so he's
Hey,
actually
man.
wondering how that crow tastes. So
It tastes fine. I still don't think we're gonna trade Russ, and I kind of don't even think we're gonna trade Pat Bev, but we'll see. I'm happy being wrong on these predictions.
But your thoughts, Matt, man, because like I said, I'm like,
well, three things.
I think it's found money if he becomes a good player, but I'm not 100% sold.
Well, 3 things. One, we got size. We got big for small. Right, we got bigger for trading out a smaller player. That for this team, just from that simple standpoint alone, is a win. This team lacks size. It needed size. We got bigger, so that's, in my opinion, an overall positive. Is it going to change the outcome of our season? We don't have we don't have the grease to make a trade that changes the outcome of our season. Even if you trade Russ. You look at all that money and you think, well, you must be getting something that'll change the outcome of your season. You have to so much. When people talk about trades in the NBA, it's like when Microsoft talked about plug and play. Like it doesn't work like that. You don't just take a player from team A, put him on team B, and he does exactly what he was doing before. Maybe he does better. Maybe he does worse. Maybe his minutes go down. Maybe his shots go up. We don't know. We do know that Rui wasn't getting the minutes and the time of the game that he wanted, that he wants to play in. I think he wants to prove that he's a crunch time player. They were going to go with Kuzma, and I think Joe's right. The reason that there wasn't going to be an extension was because they want to keep Kuz, and they know that he's going to opt out of his $13 million deal. Whether they keep Porzingis too or not is an interesting question, but I think they definitely want to go all in on Kuzma. What's more concerning to me is his injury history, which is he's injured every year a lot. Knees, ankles, shoulders, conditioning, reconditioning. He
just came back in late December from
groin early on. He just came back and and then he had that other. So that to me is the biggest red flag for a guy who's not super athletic. I mean, it's not that he's not athletic, but he's not like Lonnie Walker athletic. He gets hurt a lot and has conditioning issues. So at this point, I kind of don't care about it because he's probably in decent enough shape to play. That's fine. I'm talking about. We'll see. Well, he's not. We know he's not playing tomorrow, right? That's what we know. We know he's not playing tomorrow. So that to me is concerning, just from the standpoint of that the Lakers have already decided in their infinite wisdom that they're going to offer him an extension when they had no reason to say that to make the trade happen. The trade didn't have to happen with them saying, and don't worry, we'll offer you an extension too in the summer. Like they could have just said, we don't know. We're going to see how it works out. But they go and always say these, they dig themselves into weird PR holes that they just don't need to do that. But and my third thing is that he's not a defensive guy. We have a good history of developing that in guys, but people like to point at Kuzma. It took that Kuzma three different coaches. I think he came in under Byron Scott, if I remember right. Maybe not. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he wasn't here when Scott was here. 2 different coaches, and Phil Handy. and we'll have just gotten this guy, so he won't have a whole summer. Yeah, so I don't expect for him to instantly develop into a great player as soon as he becomes the Lakers. So you're kind of getting this unpolished, unfinished product in this moment. And in this moment, I still think that if he can do, Nunn was playing 20-ish minutes a game down the stretch last week or so, a couple weeks. I think he's going to play 20-ish minutes a game until Walker and Reeves come back. Once Walker and Reeves come back, I kind of expect Ham to go back to them. I don't think they played so poorly that they deserve not to play. They have been a part of the team from the beginning. They understand what we're trying to do. They've been a part of it. They understand the schemes and such. So, I like Joe. I don't know a ton about this guy. I do like that we at least have the opportunity to sign a young player with upside that is of the wing variety, which we desperately lack on this team. So from a next season and beyond standpoint, I like this trade, I think, more than I like it for this season now. Everybody got excited about
you're thinking they're going to extend him.
I mean, I think that they've already laid the groundwork for that, right? Like that's came out in the second PR point was, and they plan on extending him this summer.
According to Woj. But then that could be the agent talking as well.
Well, whatever. Point being is that it doesn't. Unless Woj just makes bullshit.
You said it.
I said it. If Wes Woj just makes stuff up, which I don't think he's really in the habit of doing.
No, but the agents feed him lines sometimes. Both him and Shams.
I suppose. Whoever just posted that Westbrook for McDermott, Richardson, and Podol trade, that's the worst trade. That's the absolute worst trade that you could make, because you're getting three guys who really do one thing each for a guy who does like two or three things. And why do you need Jacob if you have Thomas Bryant? You don't want Jacob taking minutes away from Thomas Bryant, and you want AD to come back. So that dude's extraneous, and it's going to take at least a first round pick. That's just a waste of a first round pick, in my opinion. If they did it for no first round picks, I'd consider it. But then you really got to hope that LeBron doesn't go down, because you have no other playmaking after that.
Well, the Lakers could, Zangerstein, the Lakers can tender him an $8 million qualifying offer, which would make him a restricted free agent. That's up to them if they want to go ahead and see about a contract. Because, again, as what was said earlier, he did not want to sign or extend it with a contract with the Washington Wizards because he's had some issues with them last year, some mental health issues. He's had some displeasure with the team here. Again, as a 9th pick in the draft.
And there's been some misinformation that I've seen online about what his qualifying offer is. It's $8.4 million. It is not $18.8 million.
Yeah.
I think that he rejected an $18.8 million extension offer is what I think people, and I'm not even sure about that last part, but his QO, all the Lakers have to tender him is $8.4. That's his qualifying offer. If they choose to pay him more, they choose to pay him more. But they can offer him a qualifying offer he can do a one and done QO.
Marcel.
Marcel, you're not. JTA, definitely no more Nunn.
Yeah,
JTA will still play some minutes, man. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, if it doesn't fall through, if it falls through with Hachimura and he does not get into become the player in the rotation that we need, then there probably is going to be some issues and have to bring JTA back into the rotation even more. But Joe, I said earlier with Sean, I think the key to success is the minutes that LeBron plays, because as a 6'8" forward who will be coming off the bench, most likely spot starter here and there maybe, but as a guy coming off the bench, he's hopefully going to give you the kind of minutes that you need and consistency that you need that will at least reduce LeBron's minute by maybe 3 or 4 minutes, even if it's 3 or 4 minutes a game.
That's not insignificant.
That's not insignificant. And that to me is a big bonus and a big help. But again, I'm a wait and see. I'm not saying this is a bad trade, not saying it's a good trade. But again, with Rui Hachimura, what player are you going to get? Are you going to get the guy that scored 30 in his last game or the guy that scored 0 the game before that?
There's an enthusiasm that he has for playing with the Lakers, which isn't surprising. There's a lot of players out there that love always wanted to play with the Lakers. Maybe that will help energize him and keep him consistent. He was on the all-rookie team his rookie year, so there's some benefit there in kind of getting an idea of what he could be. Go ahead, Jamie.
I just, side note, he played well with Russ when Russ was on the team.
And that could have played a part in this, which probably seals the fact that Russ is not going anywhere.
So we're getting all the ex-Wizards, and the Wizards are all getting all the ex-Lakers.
Well, it's probably because the Wizards are the only team that's trading with the Lakers.
Seems like it.
It used to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now it's the Washington Wizards. The next step for the Lakers is to figure out if AD is going to play healthy the rest of the year. And that's still a mystery because everything falls or builds from there. And we're going to kind of find out for about a week or so on whether it will be worth. Well, even then, what if he gets hurt in March? Here's what I'm going to say to the Laker crowd. Rob Pelinka is either going to look like a genius or look like a chump based off of what happens to AD, which is really not anyone's fault. So get ready for that. Let's say he makes a trade that kind of mortgages the future and they get good players, guys that are going to fit this team, that are going to, give us a chance to make a run. AD gets hurt in the third week of March. Lakers losing the first round. What happens? We probably throw eggs and tomatoes on them and all that, when in fact, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing we've been talking about since the summer. If AD is not healthy, this team is not winning squat. We lost it in 2021 after going up 2-1 against Phoenix, and we have never really recovered from that. And AD even said, run the game, run the team back, run it back. And looking at it, hindsight's 2020, they probably should have done that. And even KCP mentioned this in an article a few days ago. And it's looking back on it, it was the right move. It would have been better to play it safe, play it with a team that had already won and go. And it's not like you had old players. You could have played Kuzma on his rookie contract all this time until now, and you would have been fine. And if something would have developed, you could have done something. But at the end of the day, it's still the same problem, guys. AD is not healthy. AD is not healthy. So we're stuck. We're stuck getting guys that are hopefully going to help the team. And Washington did not want to have any salary. The reason why a lot of this deal went through, because apparently there was a Milwaukee, Phoenix, and Washington trade that fell through. Yes. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I think Washington didn't want salaries to come back. So the Laker trade ended up being the best trade for them because they did not want salary to come back because obviously they want to sign their own guy.
I think they add $1 million to their below cap. They're $1 million in the plus as far as is concerned with this deal. And the Lakers, I think, increased by about $3 million with this deal as far as their salary tax.
Good work on the details there, G.
I do want to say, though, that Zangerstein and everybody was right in the chat in regards to the situation with his contract. Right now, both, Zangerstein and also as well, they're telling us, Marcel, I believe it was, they're telling that Hachimura will eat $18.8 million into the cap space, but they can offer him an $8 to $10 million qualifying. It's $8 million as listed by Sports Track. It's listed right around $8 million. If you want to take a look at that, to make him a restricted free agent since they have his bird rights now. So I mean that's
that cap hold. That cap hold, I believe, only exists until they drop a qualifying offer or he agrees to an extension.
But they do need to see how he plays first. Can he be consistent?
100%.
The problem is, as I said it with Sean, he's the 9th pick in the draft in the year he came out. He's in his 4th year now. He has not panned out consistently in those 4 years. He started out as a starter. They plugged him in the lineup. They saw he had great things from him and saw a lot of promise in him. And it's never really panned out because of injuries, because of dissatisfaction, because of productivity, because of, if you look at the numbers, he's not been able to do one thing really well that really pops off at the page. He doesn't play defense very well statistically. Zangerstein talks about his mid-range game, but mid-range games here, the Lakers, we have mid-range players. Thomas Bryant's a great mid-range shooter. LeBron, loves to go. LeBron loves to go in the lane. Then you
Russ
have
is a better mid-range shooter and that's not even good, but
And AD, he's better when he doesn't shoot 3-pointers. So I don't know really how that stretches the floor to make things easier on those two. But I can say again, if he does well in the times when LeBron is off the floor and works off of AD, if he could just give LeBron 3 to 4 minutes or 5 minutes a game less, I think Joe and Jamie, I think that's a win right there.
Yeah, I think you've added. I mean, like I said, we've added size, we've added youth. We had less of that before. Yes. We gave up a player that we had to shoehorn into the lineup after injuries forced him out.
Yes.
That we knew, I think, was going to not get minutes once Reeves and Walker come
Shante,
back.
I don't know if it's a good trade. We don't know if it's a good trade. So we will complain if we want to. That's what we do on the show. We call it like we see it. We don't know if it's a good trade or a bad trade.
You can't say it's a good trade today. No. You can say that the Lakers did a good job removing a player they were certain had no future on the team and bringing in a player that could, not will or should, but could.
For picks that if Genie wants to spend the money, you can always recoup later down the line.
It's their second rounders. They weren't pick swaps, which I was kind of surprised that we didn't even. They're 3 second rounders, even if they're high second rounders. It's a total. I don't know about that, John.
Like I said, we just don't know.
I think he's available now for 2 first-round draft picks, and the Lakers are wisely not paying that price for a mid-tier role player.
Yeah, so we don't know how effective he's going to be. He's been inconsistent in his time in Washington. I'm hoping for better things here and a new scenery. Joe, I mean, you
what is he going to play on this team? Is he going to be a 3-4, 2-3, 2-3?
I wish we could go back in time now that Sticks and Endos was talking about time machines or something, or I think one of the who was it?
I mean, it's a trade, and we're happy that they are making trades. It
if you guys wanted to see enthusiasm after a trade, there's no trade in the history of my life that was more exciting than Pau Gasol trade.
Exactly.
Oh, there was no question that was going to be like.
I could not stop watching every bit of anything. I remember my at the time, my girlfriend, that now she's my wife, she's like, dude, you've seen this like 10 times. I'm like, I don't know, I can't help it. I want to watch it.
I went to Pau's first game as a matter of principle. I was like,
you were there?
Yeah.
Oh, so was I.
Yeah, I was like the first game.
Oh, wow, against Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, we're going. We're gonna go see this.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, that's great. There was
the turning
no
point
way I
for
was
the
missing
franchise.
that game.
Like, we're back. You have no idea how good this guy is. We're so back right now. And we gave up somebody who can't catch the ball. Like, it was such a great trade for so many reasons. Yes, I understand.
All these individuals that are saying that. No, I'm just saying, Jamie, all these people, Jamie, that have hated Rob forever now, they're all saying it's a good trade. And all saying, we complain.
It's a positive trade. I'm capping it for me personally, and it's a positive trade. It's trending in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it as franchise altering.
And that's very stupid.
That's a great trade, right?
Yeah.
That's a great trade by a great GM.
Excellent point.
Rob Pelinka is not a great GM. This is a great trade for Rob, right? Just like the Patrick Beverley trade in the offseason for no picks either for THT, doesn't, I don't think, play for Utah much.
Yeah.
Was a great trade, a preseason trade for Rob Pelinka as well. Those are not great trades for great franchises. This is a guy learning on the job. So I'm giving him kudos for not blowing it, for not overpaying for this deal. I'm giving him kudos for bringing in youth and size, for smaller and older, and for having the foresight to know there was no way that Kendrick Nunn was going to be a part of the future of the Los Angeles Lakers once this season ended. and you brought in somebody who might be, not saying they should be, they might be. So for Rob, it's a good trade. No, Terrence, no, we should not.
Well, the thing is with Terrence, he's shooting 30% from 3-point. So
Right.
however athletic he is and however you people out there on Twitter love the highlights, he doesn't do a thing in regards to stretching the floor. We still have not done anything in regards to stretching the floor.
You
But
have
like
to
you
trade
said-
Pat Bev. Go ahead,
Yeah.
sorry, Joe.
No, it's no my fault because I interrupted you earlier and that was my bad. So my apologies on earlier.
I was just going to say, if you trade Patrick Beverley at this point, it has to be somebody who augments the entire team, because that is Patrick Beverley's one skill, is that he does make everybody 2% better. Whether it's his weird halftime speeches or his on-court antics or the fact that he is able to shoot the ball from 3 at times, you can't bring in another mid-range finisher. You have to bring in a shooter now, or you walk away from everything. And it can't be like Miles Turner, who you don't want shooting 8 threes a game. You really don't want. You want Miles Turner moving in closer to the paint like you did with AD and working the paint over like a guy who owes you money and you're the mafia. Like, that's what you want AD and Miles Turner to do. They're going to be bigger than most people most of the time. They need to play big, and they need so I don't see a Turner trade happening anymore. Frankly, if it was going to happen, it would have happened. Right? That trade has been on the table since the dawn of time, evidently, and the Lakers haven't pulled the trigger. So I don't think that's happening. Could you trade Patrick Beverley, Walker, and like Damian Jones for Buddy Hield?
I think that trade would have happened had AD been a healthy player, because then you could go future-wise. You can say, look, Turner and AD together for the next 5 years. Shoot, that's a formidable front line, right? But at the same time, it still doesn't make sense to me why Indiana would make a trade with the Lakers. They hate us. They already filed a complaint on Rob for tampering. Come on, guys. You guys got to understand. I know you guys want to be positive and hopeful, but the reality is these guys hate our guts.
Right.
They hate our guts. Indiana hates LA. They blame us for wanting Paul George. When I don't, believe me, I want this to work out, but reality says it's not. It's just not. And beyond even that is the fact that our LeBron is number 1, AD is number 1A, but 1A that's almost a decade less in age. We cannot go forward comfortably without this guy being healthy, and he has not been healthy for now 3 years in a row. So I don't really know what the answer is at this point. All I know is that I've enjoyed watching them play the way they've been playing. Unfortunately, it's not sustainable when it matters, because you need AD to be on top of his game. So LeBron doesn't have to play 38 minutes a game, because as soon as he gets out, the team goes to crap. By getting, is it Rui,
Rui,
right?
Rui.
Yeah.
Yes.
By getting Rui, you now have a 6'8". He's listed at 230. He looks bigger than that.
Yeah.
You now have at least somebody that can maybe throw some muscle out there and maybe give, like you guys said, maybe give LeBron an extra 3-4 minutes. I think that's a good way to look at this, considering you didn't really trade anything for him. 3 second-round picks, and some of those were from Washington, weren't they? So it's just basically, if you look at the Westbrook trade, essentially it comes out to, we made a trade, we sent Kuzma and KCP and some firsts for and some seconds for Russell Westbrook and Rui.
But the only thing is, though, can Rui be a consistent part of the Lakers rotation? And that's something we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know if it
I'm hoping
we
so.
don't need a consistent player.
What do you mean you don't know if it matters?
We don't need a consistent player.
Yeah,
Go
we're not
ahead,
going to get we're not getting a
We
consistent
need another
player,
6'8"
right? Like
stick
that's
coming off the bench. We've got our, we don't have as many of those.
how quickly did Stanley Johnson improve with the Lakers? Right. That's the level of consistency Rui Hachimura will reach this season. So to ask all of these lofty goals of this kid at 23 years old, when he's got conditioning problems, which means he's got a commitment to the game problem, which means he's got a commitment to his career problem, which means, we don't need to go down the list of lines of why this won't work, because there's a lot of reasons why it won't work. And we could focus on the reasons why it will work, but we haven't even seen the guy play.
Yeah, so that's what I say. Wait and see. But people seem to have an issue with that because we're not all bowing. We're not all bowing to
the
Rob
genius
Pelinka.
that is Rob Pelinka.
Yeah,
I'm never going to bow to the genius that is Rob Pelinka because
people have been ripping on him for years now. Then all of a sudden he makes a trade for one player and some second rounders, and it's just like now he's a god. I just want to wait and see. I want to see the kid play. I want to see the kid play.
Hey, look. Maybe it throws a switch, right? Like maybe he looks himself in the mirror and goes, this is my rookie. After this, there's no guarantee that I'm going to get another multi-million-dollar deal. I might be fighting for vet minimums like Stanley Johnson, just trying to stay in the league. If he comes through and flops and averages 20 minutes a game and 3 points and a rebound and a couple of whatevers, I doubt the Lakers do extend him, right? Like, why? Why do that? What's the reason? Which is why I don't understand why it was put out there in any way, shape, or form at all. I'm sure it was by his agent now that I think about it, and that's an astute observation.
Because remember, they got to keep those relationships with those agents very strong in order to get those news bites that only he and Sham seem to get. Right.
Anyway, point being is I don't have a lot of expectations for him as a player this season. And that's why I guess I say it doesn't matter. I expect us to play Lonnie Walker more. I expect us to play Reeves more. And if he's so good that he changes the tenor of that conversation, then obviously we'll have that conversation at that time. But if you're telling me, John just said that we needed a wing, we got a wing, case closed. Yes, technically you could go and get a wing from KFC, or you could go and get a wing from
I wasn't going to go there when he put that comment, but I was
Chick-fil-A, or you can go and get a wing from
or Joe's Wingstop when he does the wing challenge.
Joe's Wingstop when he does the wing challenge, or you could go
Buffalo
to some
Wild
backwater.
Wings, yeah, because Wingstop doesn't have really hot sauces there.
You told me.
You could go to a Gator Shack in the swamps and the bayou and find a guy who makes the most amazing wing. Point being is that one thing is not. It's certainly not case closed, and that's not to just be disagreeable, John.
So we have some guys mentioning the extension, and that there's been word that the Lakers are already planning to extend them. So just so you guys understand how the NBA operates. We remember talking about Schroeder and how he was offered $84 million. He just happened to decline it. I didn't think in a million years he'd do that. If they extend Rui, it's likely because they don't want to lose that money in terms of in a sense of trying to get maybe future compensation in a trade using that money. So understand that plays a part in how I know it's not taught a lot. I know it's not explained a lot on TV, which is just mind-boggling to me that these professionals that are getting paid millions of dollars to talk about the NBA and how the process works. And they always have this special segment like on a Tuesday when no one's watching about how the salary cap works. Guys, money in the books can be more than just paying a guy. Remember, the NBA has a percentage that you have to pay certain players, or I should say on payroll on a team. You have to, I think, spend up to $90 million. So that money has to go somewhere. That's what the CBA was. That's why they had to, when you hear the term, 50% goes to the owners or 50% goes to the players, or however that comes out, 51-49, that money is allocated to those players and they have to make that percentage. So a lot of that comes down to having to pay guys that you're like, wait a minute, why the hell did they pay him that much money? Well, it's because it's part of the agreement, and teams can only really make things happen a lot of times by matching contracts. So I want you guys to look at that as what could be the possibility here, especially if they let Russell Westbrook finish out the contract. And sorry if this is going to bother some of you, there's word that they might re-sign him. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season, whether it's during or after, on how the Lakers' future is going to come about.
I would like to say that I think I'm one of the first people to float the idea of the Lakers possibly keeping Westbrook, as that I was doing it last summer.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It's Jamie Sweet and Joe Soro with us right here talking about the Rui Hachimura trade. Jamie, can I ask you this, and also Joe as well? Please interject on this. So Rob makes the trade. He makes Jamie eat some crow. Sean is enjoying it and laughing him off camera every single second, ththinking about it. He's enjoying himself. So you brightened his day, but it brings a wing.
I have a fake crow.
6'8" forward into the mix as far as the rotation is now concerned. But what if that's all he does before the trade deadline? All these people to my right, or to my left, actually, as I'm saying, will they be there? Will they suddenly change their minds come February 7th? That when they see if there's nothing else done, they're going to say all we got was Rui Hachimura.
I maybe. I think that we are probably done. I know that there are some fans who think this is the precursor to a Detroit deal. You like that word?
It's a famed word here at the show.
Yeah. Well, this might be the precursor to either a Detroit deal with for Burks and Bogdanovich, or maybe Houston for Eric Gordon, or something. Something along those lines. I don't know. Those are all going to take a first round pick.
Or picks.
I think you could get Gordon for a pick. I don't know that you could get Bogdanovich for less than 2 at this point.
Anyone who gives, if it's Bogdanovich, 28 years old, I could see that. But
he's 33.
But 33, 34,
yeah.
I wait that out. I want to see who's going to give up a first round pick for Bogdanovich.
Nobody is. That's what.
No one is.
I also don't think Detroit doesn't need to trade him.
I don't believe. I have to respectfully disagree on the fact that there's. We talked about it before on the Sunday show. 24 teams right now trying to improve their rosters to make a playoff run. I think one of them is going to be suckered into it with Bogdanovich.
Only if they're the title contender and they want to add another shooter.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I could really quite easily see this being one of because the price is so absurd this season. The Gobert trade broke everything this year. And the only question is for how long? Are we really going to be sending out both decent young players and a boatload of draft picks for players like Gobert, who, let's be honest, is quite one-dimensional? If that's the case, there will be fewer and fewer trades going forward. There won't be more.
I can't imagine. I can understand that it might have ruined a little bit of the summer, but in actuality, I don't think it had anything to do with like Durant ending up in Brooklyn and not going anywhere. I think that the Nets made a decision there, regardless of what happened in the Rudy Gobert trade, that, look, we're not trading you anywhere because we're never going to get equal value.
Right. That's why I don't think Russ is going to get traded.
Now, here's the interesting part of that. We saw that then, but do you think that Brooklyn and Toronto do a trade for Scotty? I think if Scotty Barnes had been thrown into that mix, I know he's struggling this year. I don't know if it's just a sophomore slump, but usually in the NBA, sophomore slumps are not the norm for a really great player. Scotty Barnes, if Toronto had said, yeah, we'll put Scotty Barnes in there, I think Durant goes to Toronto. But
I agree.
If they didn't do that, so this game is a lot like poker.
Very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of great poker players, but luck, how you manage your luck, is also a big part of this.
That's why Dr. Bust is so good at it, man.
It makes sense, right? So Dr. Bus, when you look at all the, shows and all the documentaries and all the stuff that you heard and watched, there are things that that didn't work out, but he was always able to, do well on the next hand and make up for whatever happened before. If Shaquille O'Neal wanted to get traded or Kobe wanted him out, he sat with Shaq and said, "Big fella, I'm sorry, I can't pay you $30 million. I can pay you 20,
right?
But I can't pay you 30. But at the same time, I can't lose Kobe Bryant either."
Right.
And then what happens? And he trades Shaquille O'Neal, and 5 years later, he's going back to back again. And one of those beating the Celtics. And that's just this game is so fickle. It's just we get. I've said this and I'll say it again. My issue with Pelinka and Genie are their personalities and because I never disliked Mitch Kupchak, even though he got a lot of hate. I never disliked Mitch Kupchak. I thought he was a really good GM. He made some amazing trades. One that unfortunately didn't go through that could have maybe been even with the Pau Gasol trade had it gone through. But it's the personalities of Rob and Genie that have really irritated me more by doing certain things, not even trade or acquisition involved in terms of being involved. It's just the little things around, like, the Jerry West thing and other things like that just gives us a cheap image, almost like a Walmart kind of image. And there's nothing else the Lakers can do at this point except try and get as many things on this team that can help without giving up the assets that they don't want to give up.
John is reminding us, did you forget about the Deng and Mozgov contracts when he signed them within the first, seemingly 10 minutes of the free agent mix right there, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, that was when Jimbo was running things, and who knows what the inspirato behind those was.
Oh, the stuff goes downhill.
Jim might have opened the bottle of a Mickey's, looked at what the riddle was under the cap, and been like, "Oh, Deng and Mozgov."
So I asked,
the Mozgov one was really bad.
Yes. So I asked. Well, I saw him he was at the game in Denver, I think, or something like that. Yeah, I think he made an appearance behind. Yeah, I think he was in the crowd. But be that as it may, I asked Jamie Sweet the question. I want to ask you again, Joe. Okay, so if Rui Hachimura is the only get for us before the trade deadline, because we now have even less assets to go ahead and maneuver. We still have 4 second rounders. We still have the 2 first rounders. We still have the contracts of Beverly, Lonnie Walker the 4th. We could trade realistically. I mean, the minimum salaries of some other players, and of course Russell Westbrook's $47 million on the books. Do you think that if nothing else happens before the trade deadline, do you think you would be satisfied with what Rob has done?
No, because it means that we're likely not going to have a chance at winning a title, and the Lakers have to bring in an impact player for us to have a shot, even if AD is healthy. We don't have enough. LeBron would have to be by some miracle. LeBron would have to play 2016 LeBron with AD playing 2020 AD for us to maybe have a small shot.
Because Adam Hurley thinks, as we're currently constructed now, that we're a contender.
Who said this?
Adam in our chat.
Well, I'll mark your words, Adam. If you continue to watch
that's
the
very
show,
positive thinking. That's beyond even Laker Tom.
I'll mark it. Look, no one wants to mark your words, Adam, more than I do.
I hope you're right.
I hope you're right, but I don't think you are.
But we're not. The results have been AD not staying healthy. That's the biggest irritant beyond the fact that there was some focus issues and some bad coaching at the end of games. But I did kind of sit back and realize that Darvin Ham this is the first year he's coaching as a head coach. And I think sometimes we can be inconsiderate and a-holes, which I'm not going to deny. I think sometimes you get lost in the moment. And there have been some decision making here in the last week or so where Darvin Ham looked like he's trying to do some things. And One case in point, I don't know if you guys heard this, but before Schroeder stole that ball, Darvin Ham made it very clear to the referees that they are not going to foul right away. And because of that, they didn't call a foul, and then Schroeder stole the ball. Now, it was the aligning of the planets. It was
Right.
It was it reminded me of Mike Tomlin just coincidentally talking about Super Bowl 43 at practice, how, guys, when someone intercepts the ball, you guys need to create the cavalry right away to go block.
Right.
What happened after that? James Harrison intercepts the ball and goes 100 yards, and all you see is a convoy of Steelers blocking. And if that doesn't happen, he doesn't score on that play and probably don't win the Super Bowl. So sometimes the littlest thing, guys, the littlest things make a difference. And that right there is what I'm talking about. That was Darvin Ham calling the right calling the right play, calling the right discussion with the refs, and of course Schroeder executing it. And those are the type of things that can sometimes turn around your entire psyche, and then the entire psyche of the team, and the confidence of the fan base, and all those things. And that's what I like to see. With that, I cannot really make a decision on whether this is going to work out in the end, because we just don't know. We try to focus on the now, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen on Tuesday and Wednesday, in general. Tomorrow, I'm focusing on hopefully watching the Lakers whoop some ass tomorrow. I want them to destroy the Clippers tomorrow. They are so due to whip this team. That's what I want. I don't want a close game. I'll take a close win. You have to, but I want an ass whooping tomorrow.
How do you feel about the 1-point victory for the Lakers? Oh, I feel terrible, Gerald.
Hey, take it easy. I'm
just kidding.
Just telling you, man. Jesus.
I'm kidding.
Hurt yourself over there.
But
easy, buddy. Easy.
I do want to say, though, that you all over the chat, you guys have been going back and forth. It's just truly great to see on the world's best Lakers chat right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But guys, before we head on out, I want to hear, Rui Hachimura seems to be generating a lot of interest. It's not just the fact that he is coming here. I think it's the fact that the Lakers have done something, have done anything to try.
It's the league in general. This is the first trade before the trade deadline, right?
This is where the dominoes start.
And the NBA has
technically the Spurs bought Noah Vonleh to get up the cap, but
the Boston trade. You're right.
But nobody cares.
The NBA has been a bore since the second week of the NBA free agency. There has never been this boring a trade deadline or a free agency period in years. So Adam Silver, Jesus, no one cares about a play-in, dude. You got to fix this trade deadline thing. Get rid of that play-in. It destroyed the trade market. It destroyed free agency, because you can even look back at that and say, who's going to trade someone even then or let someone go if they have a feeling that they might still be able to get to the playoffs that following year? I think it blew up in his face.
And that's something we have to consider as far as with the Lakers. With this trade, it's something that I think it's just one step. It's just one step in a direction that hopefully the Lakers will get better at. It does help alleviate the logjam of small guards a little bit that Zangerstein and a lot of people like myself have really become irritated by constantly throwing out those small lineups. Let me ask you this, Jamie. Do you think that Rui can actually play crunch time minutes for the Los Angeles Lakers?
When everybody's healthy?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll give it a maybe. I would like to say yes, but I'm not confident in that yes. So I'm going to say I doubt it. I just, he didn't play on a team that's probably not going to make the play-in. You know what I mean? And you could say, oh, well, they're doing this or they're doing that. Yeah, but bottom line is he didn't force the conversation. right?
Yeah.
On the team that he was on, he didn't force the conversation to, well, should this guy play during crunch time? That question got answered on the Washington Wizards. And that's with no Beal, right? Beal's not playing. So if they're going to develop somebody, is not this the time to do it. So, I mean, like I said, he's coming here with an injury history, coming here with a conditioning history, which isn't just like, oh, I didn't train hard enough. It's that you didn't care enough to try hard. Those are concerning. Those, for me, are red flags. We don't need guys. I felt like that was, to be honest, that's what I felt like we just shipped out in Kendrick Nunn, a guy who was like, this bone bruise, man. It's been a whole year and I don't know when I'm going to come back. Like, I want it to work out. I really want it to work out, but I definitely have to wait and see on the floor. I think he has the potential to be a crunch time player. I think we can up his defense from what we've seen.
I think his defense will improve. I'm going to be positive on that aspect because it was pretty bad from what I've seen as far as the
pretty bad.
Ratings. Yeah, defensive ratings overall. But that could be a scheme thing with Washington. Then people are talking about which position does he play, 3 or 4, because of his size. He may be not, too heavy to be a wing, and maybe not strong enough for a 4. I don't know. I don't know where he'll fit. I don't know what his. I've only seen, I've seen over the course of the years just a few games of him as far as really focused on him as a player, and I've seen mixed results, and that's the problem. I keep seeing mixed results. I do see a little bit of promise, and I'm hoping it comes through, and I'm hoping the Lakers will take advantage of it. That's my hope.
That the Trevor Ariza comparison Joe was making at the beginning of the show is pretty apt, I think. But I'm not saying that we're getting Trevor Ariza. You're hoping that he has that same kind of arc, that Trevor Ariza arc, where his time in the Lakers is what propelled him on to his next $85-90 million contract. And, we all go live happily ever after, and he becomes a guy you want on a playoff team with championship hopes, and maybe he stays with LA, maybe he doesn't. That's not the point. The point is that he would have shown that he was worthy of that on this team this summer, or this spring rather. So I got a lot of hope, which is rare for me.
Even though with Joe, we're not really supposed to hope, but sure.
I know, Joe. I hope I'm right that that Rui finds that next gear, the next gear that propels his own career, that enlivens his own family. That
there's no hope in this business.
I mean, sure there is. I know. I
want you to really pay attention to what I just said.
No, I've heard it multiple times.
Hold on now, Adam, Mr. Positive. Adam is being real positive, and you know what? I appreciate your positivity. But before we head on out, Adam Hurley is surprised that Laker guys like you guys don't have confidence in LeBron team with Anthony Davis team.
That's not what we're saying, Adam. That's not. No. That is not what we're saying.
But the stats are there, Adam. Okay, 1 title, 2 playoffs. 3 years.
They have currently played, I believe, other than their first season together, they have played 67 regular season games together total in 3 years.
Yeah, health-wise, they've just not been together very long.
It's just not. They don't play enough, and that's honestly, it's not LeBron's fault. A little bit, but more AD's fault. And you can be like, oh well, an anvil hit him on the head, or a runaway luggage cart ran over his leg, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. He's. Then he's got bad luck, like so many others before him have suffered from. Bad luck is a true thing, I feel like.
Yeah, it is about AD's health, Adam. You're right.
It's absolutely about AD's health.
If we get the AD, he comes back, and we get the AD of earlier this season. Plus, we have LeBron of now, who won didn't he win the Western Conference Player of the Week again this past week? Yeah. So we get this LeBron and we get this AD. With Rui Hachimura helping us out, Joe, with other contributors that are a little bit more consistent. Troy Brown has been playing pretty good. He's been going under the radar, but he's been playing pretty good. You've got Dennis Schroeder that's been playing a lot more solid lately, consistently. Thomas Bryant, I think he should stay in the starting lineup. You got to reward him for his consistently hard work. And then you've had Russell Westbrook, who's been all over the place, but he still gives you something during the course of the game, as long as it's not crunch time. And, you've got players that have been giving you contributions, which is all you can ask. But AD has to come back as that MVP level player in order for the Lakers to get where Adam and the rest of us hope they can go.
Yeah, unfortunately, too many ifs.
Too many
And,
ifs. It's
and the
live.
ifs have been. This is the third straight year we're ifing.
Yeah.
So the ifing and the hoping is empty. We're empty. I'm empty of the
It's
if
kind of like
and the
hope. It's kind of like hope, right, Joe?
Hope in this business. Focus on what I'm saying. Hope in this business does nothing. We need execution. We need what the guys have been doing this last few weeks, or I'd say last couple weeks. And it's about results, guys. We are in the results business. And when you have LeBron James, who's chasing the all-time mantle, you have AD, who's supposed to be the next guy after LeBron and Steph Curry. At 29 years old, I'm sorry, I'm expecting a lot from these guys. If the role players aren't being what they need to be, well, then that's when management. It's easy to play when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis when they're playing. Can you supplement those guys? That's the job of your organization. You know, one of the things that you had to give Jerry Krause in Chicago some credit for before he started getting butthurt, because that played a big part in it. He was one of those insecure guys that eventually it engulfed him. But the fact that he at the time he traded, let's say, Charles Oakley for Bill Cartwright, that was not a popular move. But Charles Oakley was a young beast, and Cartwright was kind of going down, going the other way.
That grizzled old center type.
Right. But in terms of the team dynamic,
the fit,
Bill Cartwright was exactly what they needed at that time. And that's something Jerry Krause recognized. And that's something that we have a hard time, or I shouldn't say we, players have a hard time understanding that the executives, like Jerry Krause, is in the gyms. Jerry West was in the gyms, high school, college, NFL. They're in the stands and they're paying attention to other things. You're in the gym making sure your gym is being taken care of while they're out there scouting, looking, analyzing, general managing. It's a different beast. You have to do that to be successful. If you don't do that, you will not be successful. And if you do that, you might still not be successful. So if you don't do it, you're definitely going to guarantee you're not going to be successful. It's a hard job. When Phil Jackson took the job in New York, I was laughing. I'm like, why is he taking this job other than for money? Why would they hire Phil Jackson? He can't move. He's not going to go find other guys. And he got suckered, he got stuck with this Carmelo Anthony wanting to get him out. And then create a whole drama, and he ended up piecing out. Does Rob Pelinka go to gyms? Does he go scout? Is he paying attention to that kind of stuff? I'd like to know. Doesn't look like it. But yes, Howard Hill, I think they should trade AD at the end of the year.
And that's something and I want to say this right now, Joe was clearly he was leading the AD train at the beginning of the season. He got me on that train to give him one more season. And over the course of this season, Joe has seen that if that's what they should or ponder doing, I don't think they will end up doing it. Personally, I think they should do it, or at least look into it, at least what kind of offers you can get this summer. I think they should at least look at it. But, Joe, I think both you and I know that
3 is enough.
Likely not. Yeah.
3 is enough. And he still has value at the end of the year.
If he hurts that navicular bone, if he breaks that navicular bone, which he hurt, he's done for a year. Absolutely done for a year.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you want to get ahead of the things before it's too late. You want to get ahead of things. And I still say that Philly trade would be the easiest trade to make, because you would get a young potential star with a really good veteran and likely some draft capital. And then at that point, you can sit down with LeBron James and say, okay, what are we going to do next? Like, what do you want? How can we construct this so that you can, make way of the next couple of years here, since you're still playing well? It's not likely to happen, because I don't think Rob has enough foreskin to do that. But it is what it is.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you watching and listening. It is our extended Rui Hachimura trade talk. I know a lot of people are still asking about it, talking about it. Great numbers. We're going to stay on the air because right now we still got a lot of great numbers, and we really cannot thank you enough for watching and listening. Jamie, I'll hit you up next.
Let me finish this. Let me explain this.
Okay,
Terrence, I'm sorry. I'll finish this and then I'll let Terrence know what's going on.
Okay.
Terrence, I think in realistic trades, right? It's so easy to just say, let's go do this trade when it's completely dumb. It's not going to happen. If Philly doesn't win the title this year, which I think they won't, I think they're going to need to do something big. And they would be willing to risk to do it because James Harden, the more he plays, the less and less he's not going to be the James Harden of old. Still productive, still good, but you do have a prime Embiid. So my suggestion a few shows ago was if everything ends badly for the Lakers and the Sixers, meaning not winning a title, you trade AD to Philly for Maxey, Tobias Harris, draft capital, first, second, whatever, for AD and however, whatever fillers you need to put in there. And I believe a front line of Embiid and AD in the East with James Harden should, by some miracle, AD's healthy by next year, they could have a chance at winning it all. And then the Lakers get younger and a productive player and LeBron probably more suited for LeBron's game. And then you got some draft capital coming where you can start drafting some people too. The Lakers are not going to go get a true even trade for AD, but you can try to get something that's going to be immediate and for the future. And that's the trade that I suggested. No one ever said this. Shams didn't say it. Woj didn't say it. It's just my assessment from what I believe would be something that could be realistic.
Jamie, any thoughts to add on to this? Joe's really on a roll, and I think he's right in very much what he said.
I mean, I think that you at least have to entertain the idea after this year. Obviously you want to see how the season concludes before you move on to that stage of analysis. But if it were to end today and it was another injury-riddled season for AD, and the honest truth Laker fans have to accept is AD's never won a title in a regular season. He's never come close. Never even taken a team to the Western Conference Finals. So
second round, I think, didn't he? Yeah, second round.
And he got smoked. They got smoked by the Warriors.
And that was after Cousins went down. Cousins was balling at an all-star level, and then he tore his Achilles or his ACL. I can't remember which one.
He tore his thigh.
His quad?
Yeah, squad was the first thing that went out.
Okay.
And then ever since then, he's wanted to go somewhere where he was the second best player. And so that the whole narrative that's been constructed about LeBron passing AD the torch and him carrying the Lakers into this next great era of something or other, I have a hard time buying into those lofty narratives in general. Life generally doesn't work out like that. But B, I never saw a guy who could stay on the floor enough to do that, even in New Orleans when he was young. If you go back, the most games he's ever played in a season was 75. He did it once, and I think it was his second year in the league, maybe his third. He's hit 67 two other times. One of those was the bubble year, and the other was 2 seasons before he was traded to us in New Orleans. He sat out a lot of games, granted, the last year of his contract in New Orleans because he had made his trade demand. They didn't want him playing at home. Whatever. Point being, he hasn't shown the ability to get through a season and to lead a team on his own, ever. And I don't think at 29, with the types of injuries he's now sustained as a Laker, that those days are in front of him. I don't see it. I don't see him physically able to do it. So if that's the case, your logic should then inform you you get value. Unfortunately, the Lakers aren't really a logical franchise. They are where superstars go to die. They want to be that franchise. They want to be that place where somebody who's about to hit, maybe already in the twilight of their career, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot. And it's LA. It won't be so bad. Even if if it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, it won't be so bad. It's not like you spend a year in Utah. No offense to anybody who has to live in Utah or chooses to.
One thing I want to mention, though, since Jamie is
having a hard time imagining people who really want to. But my ex-boss lives in Utah, so what do I know?
Salt Lake City's not too bad, my friend. As far as the weather's real nice, I'll say. But once again, I've been there a few times. It's pretty nice there, weather-wise. But once again, it's the Lakers fast break. Before we head on out, some final thoughts on Rui, and also again finalizing whether or not we liked their trades or not liked the trades. Joe, I'll hit you up first, my friend. I mean, you and I are still, I think, on the fence of. I want to wait and see whether or not I say this is a good trade or a bad trade. I don't think it's a bad trade. Again, it deals with second rounders, which you can always pay to go ahead and get back in, like we saw this year with Max Christie. We paid for that trade. We paid for that second round Orlando pick to get Max Christie. So I if we really, are looking at somebody in that second round in future drafts, we can always get that back. So I'm not too concerned about that. Kendrick Nunn is going to play great elsewhere because he played like crap on the Lakers for the most part.
Right.
Let's put it that
Everybody
way.
be like, oh, look, 20 points a game, 8 threes. Why didn't we keep him?
Yeah, exactly. Because I have a feeling you're going to see that because he's going to get time, he's going to get minutes, he's going to get shots on a losing team in Washington. So people are going to say that. I don't think they should have kept him because I think that, he's not going to be a good fit to anything you're going to do. And like Zangerstein constantly reminds us, a small team, it does not a good NBA team make. But your thoughts on this, Joe, when you look at it a little bit more closely, you're still, like me, I think, undecided on whether or not this was a good trade or not.
Yeah, you have to figure out, you have to let the process play itself out.
Agreed.
The excitement was, some of the stuff I was reading was, this was a good trade by Rob. Good job, Rob. I'm like, what do you mean, good job, Rob? We don't even know what's going to happen here. Right. We got a guy that I think he's played 60% of the games since he's been in the league. He's only played 30 games this year. So, guys, you gotta. Some of you all gotta wake up. It's not just basketball either, man. I mean, we're talking basketball here, but geez. You got to look at the results. You got to look at what you're seeing and stop imagining birds in the air when it's this bird shit.
Here we go, another one.
Come on. It's just wake up. Let it play out. Stop getting crazy.
108.35, Joe. 108.35.
I mean, seriously, this is funny. I'm excited in the sense of that there's this willingness to try and improve the team, but then that's like saying, well, good job not crashing your car.
It's a participation. It's a participation award.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I think the one positive thing is I am hearing that he is very excited to play for LA and that he had spoken something in Gonzaga that this is his home. He feels like he's at home when he's in LA. Now, we know for damn sure it didn't mean the Clippers, okay, because no one wants to be at LA. The only human being that wanted to be a Clipper was Kawhi Leonard.
Paul George.
Okay, Paul George, he went there by default because his feelings got hurt or something. I don't know what the hell that was. But so what we can hope for that he maybe gets focused enough to say, hey, I got a contract I can get this summer. I want to be here. I am going to play balls out. And that I've seen happen. I've seen guys in contract years, Eric Dampier, look like Wilt Chamberlain and then completely go to crap once he got the contract. So for us, I'm thinking about this year, we get lucky and have AD play healthy the rest of the year. And if this guy's playing hard and is the 30-point in the game guy, the rest of the year, hey, maybe we could have something happen here.
He's not a 30-point game guy.
Well, not 30, but I'm saying if he's that guy that got 30, that's playing throughout the year.
Sure. If he plays focused and aggressive, I'll be happy.
Well, we'll see. Definitely hoping for good things with Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
I have to see consistency. That's all I'm asking for. If it's consistent, 12 to 15 points a game, comes off the bench, gets you 15 to 25 minutes a game, gets you that type of production, shoots 35%. I'm not asking for 40%. I'm asking for just 35% from three. That stretches it enough, that gets people thinking. I mean, Troy Brown is shooting 35%, and he's one of our best shooters right now, and he's doing the best, I think, above my expectations of what I thought he could do coming into the season. So, Jamie, I'll head it over to you. Your thoughts initially on the trade and what Rui Hachimura can give us with the Lakers.
I mean, my initial thoughts were that it was a decent, solid trade for what we gave up, what we brought back. Solid trade. I think it has the potential to be better in the future than it is now, which is rare in a trade, especially for the Lakers, especially considering what we gave up. But that's all hypothetical. The guy that we're getting on this team right now, we'll see, right? You know, I would imagine that he's behind a couple of players on the depth chart right off the bat, simply because they've been here from the beginning. How quickly he picks things up, how quickly he, excels on the defensive end, how quickly he maybe adapts to a role of supporting LeBron, supporting Russ, supporting our guards, and
supporting AD. Hopefully, when he comes back,
I'm not counting on. I can't. I'm not going to count on. I'm not going to.
All right.
I think he should have gotten surgery instantly. I think he should have just started it right when it. This is a fool's errand.
Okay.
It's an injury caused by repeated running and stress on the area. Things like running and jumping.
Which is what he'll be doing when he gets back.
That sounds a lot like basketball to me. So I'm not holding out high hopes that this is a long-term successful strategy. If it's enough to push us into the playoffs and he can make the playoffs and then get the surgery and sit out a year, I don't know.
Got to be the shoes. Yeah, we know defense is not his strongest attribute, but
defense isn't his strongest attribute. We just want him to try. That's not got to be the hash. Dang it. Well, I mean, it's not. Unfortunately, Howard, it's not that easy. As Gerald said, it's basically a year minimum from that surgery.
You're gone for a year. I mean, you're looking at a year for that. That's one of the worst injuries a big man can get. Right there.
Yeah. No, it was bad news from the beginning. The only good news was that it didn't break.
Yeah.
That it just is floating, I guess, which I still don't understand how that's not broken, but Sean would have to speak on that more than myself. So, Sean's the medical professional here in our little enclave. So, but it is a good trade. You weren't going to get much out of. You weren't going to get much more out of Nunn, especially not when Reeves and Lonnie Walker IV came back. He was barely going to play.
Good point.
So now you've at least got the option to go bigger. Mm-hmm. How well that works out remains to be seen, but you could try it. It is a new option that didn't exist, and I think that makes the team better.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. If you have any questions for us and you're not in the live chat, go ahead and just put it below on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, or at Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. Lakers Fast Break on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Trovo. We're there. So go ahead and be part of it. Tomorrow we'll be on the air for playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. The game is against the Clippers, and Joe wants a big win for the Lakers tomorrow against the Clippers. 7 p.m. start time. Then 9:30 we'll be on the air with the post game, the best Lakers post game that's out there, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Hefe KC, yeah, it's possible the Lakers can make another move. I am hoping that the Lakers make another move, because Joe, always said it. If Rob does not do another move, if Rob does not make another move, Joe, I would not consider this a successful trading season for the Los Angeles Lakers.
No, and we're gonna need to we're gonna need to hope there's a desperate team needing to drop big salaries without the Lakers having to throw all of their first round picks. Good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck.
not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yep.
Not gonna happen.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Joe Soro is here for you. Jamie Sweet, aka Yami Swoot. Go ahead and check out Jamie Sweet today at 5 Things on Lakerholics.com, along with Laker Tom, the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there. Of course, you got Joe Soro. You can find him as Ox1947. Give him a shout out and hello when you're by LakersBall.com. You know he's all over the place when it concerns LakersBall.com. And of course, a major part of our live watch parties as well on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. I'm sorry that we did not get, that could not air the deep dive on Jay Mohr for today, but that will come in time. We'll just have to find a day in the schedule to go ahead and do it.
Why bother?
Why? Because people are asking for it.
Boring.
People are asking for it. Well, you should have heard Sean's deep dive. That you might change your mind when you hear Sean and what he was talking about with the deep dive on Jay Mohr. But
Yeah, I haven't listened. That was last show or 2 ago?
no, it was on playback. It was actually on playback.
Oh, it was on playback. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I got to grab the footage and then I'll have to post a little bit of it here, but I will post it in full on the audio portion on an upcoming date in mind. So
Douglas Jenkins, we're not going to make a trade with Detroit because they don't want to make a trade with us.
well, we'll see.
They want to fleece us. Rob is smart not to get fleeced for 2 first round or even 1 first round pick for Bogdanovich.
Everybody wants to fleece the Lakers in the NBA. I believe with Joe. I think that Rob has burned a lot of bridges. And the Lakers as an organization, they've burned a lot of bridges. That's what happens when you win 17 championships.
Any trade with San Antonio, Indiana, Detroit is going to be an overpay. Why? Yeah. Because we've smoked them all in either the playoffs or the NBA finals multiple times.
Yeah. As Zangerstein and others have pointed out in the chat, Rui is going for a physical tomorrow. So we will not be able to see Rui on the floor until Wednesday's game.
At best.
I apologize for that at best, at earliest. So apologize for everyone who's excited to see that. But, that's the way the things go down in the NBA. Joe, Jamie, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I'm hoping for the best.
Okay.
To answer Hefe's comment, word is that San Antonio really just wants a 2nd round pick for Josh Richardson.
But he makes more than the veteran minimum, doesn't he? I don't think
he does.
I don't think we can trade Troy Brown for him. That's not that I don't think Josh Richardson would be another fine player to get a hold of.
Back to the Indiana situation.
Right. Yeah. It's going to take
I will believe the Spurs will trade the Lakers when Jessica Alba becomes Meryl Streep.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, he's got 12 million on the books. Josh Richardson is 12 million on the books. So you would need like 12 Troy Browns in order to trade.
You could do it with Pat Bev.
Yes, and I don't think they want Pat Bev. But
they'll take a 1st round pick with Pat Bev, but they're not giving up a 1st round pick for Josh Richardson.
He's not worth it. Not worth it.
Not worth it. Not happening.
But once again,
Jacob Podol.
Jakob Podol.
Oh, I was all sorts of wrong. Not worth it. Not with Thomas Bryant. If Thomas Bryant wasn't as good as he had shown that he can be, okay, maybe. But
you can't play him in the clutch because he can't shoot free throws.
But he can't really shoot in general. Like he finishes at the rim. That's it. Like
block some shots.
Whatever. That's not defense. That's empty calorie stats. His team loses. He's not a great defender.
Okay. Yeah, his rim percentage is a little bit down this year anyway. So, yeah, I would not – Jakob Poeltl is not a good option simply because of the fact you cannot play him in the clutch because teams would just go right at him or actually want him to get the ball each and every time because of how poor a free throw shooter he truly is. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you watching and listening. Appreciate it. Again, tomorrow we'll be here as the Lakers hopefully will destroy the Clippers finally, after so many times, how many times have they lost the Clippers now?
I don't want to say.
Yes, it's in the double digits. I remember Joe saying it. He was really ticked off when he said it too. So yeah, that's got to end. That's got to end tomorrow. And that's going to end tomorrow. Let's think
That's
positive.
right. Let's
Adam
end it.
Hurley, Adam Hurley positive, and we're going to go ahead and think positive. They are going to end it tomorrow. So yes, that's right. Laker Tom, 1, 2, 3. Laker Tom, right there.
Laker
for you.
Tom.
1, 2, 3. Yes, there you go. John McKinley says, take a shot every time Gerald says before we head on out.
No one cares what John thinks.
No, that's not true.
Well, John, I wanted to get you on, but I know you had technical difficulties, so I'm sorry that you couldn't make it on. But please come on. You're always welcome. You know that. But once again, if you have any questions for us, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com or wherever you get your social media. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Tell your friends that the best place to go for Lakers chat is right here at Lakers Fast Break. And tomorrow, hopefully another win, this time against the Clippers, will happen, we hope, right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.